Hello, y'all. My name's Sam. I'm a full-time eBay reseller. We are traveling the country in our 24-foot RV while I am trying to run this business and make a full-time living. So if this is the kind of content you guys are interested in, please like, subscribe, and comment to my channel. If there's any questions or concerns or anything you guys want me to do videos about, please comment down below. This week we are going to talk mainly about how sourcing has gone here, and then also an update on my truck, and we'll get to that part first. The truck actually had a I guess the thing that needed to be replaced was the trailer brake module in the truck. Parts and labor, it's costing me $1,000 roundabout, which is about where I thought it would be, because you can't go into a dealership without dropping $1,000 for anything nowadays. So that was about where we thought it was going to be at. It's taking a couple days for them to get the parts in, and they're going to have to do some wiring and stuff, but hopefully we'll have it back within the next 2 days or so. So that was one good thing about us keeping the van still, is we didn't have to rent a vehicle, and I think we've decided we're going to go ahead and keep the minivan also. We were going to sell it while we were here. It's been too useful, especially with the stuff that happened on the way down here, and then also not having the truck right now. It's gonna cost us a little bit more. That's two engines, two sets of tires, parts and labor and everything if something goes wrong. But right now it's just better for us. We're probably going to drop the coverage down to liability on the van, and if there's any major repairs that need to get done because something goes wrong, we will probably go ahead and sell it then. But for the time being, it's worth keeping around. Now to sourcing. Before I go into that, I do want to explain, we're in Northwest Arkansas right now, and I know it was on the news nationally about 2 weeks ago. The previous weekend, they had a lot of tornadoes come through the area. We lucked out. We were in the southern portion. There wasn't really any damage down there. The tornadoes didn't come through where we're at. But then this past week we moved to the area where it had gotten hit. We're still in a part that wasn't too bad. They'd lost power that day, and there's a lot of downed trees and stuff, but it wasn't too bad. But the place that really got hit bad was Rogers, Arkansas. There's so many places in Rogers, in parts of Bentonville, just 100-year-old trees pulled from their roots, and slammed through houses. Businesses collapsed or just completely wiped out. Just debris and destruction everywhere. And it's weird because some places there's nothing, and in other places it's completely wiped out. It's surreal seeing it. And that's what happens with tornadoes. It's not like a hurricane where everything gets destroyed. It's just, it hops around. This, along with the weather, has really affected my ability to source, especially garage sales, which is where I like to do most of my sourcing, because of course you find the best stuff the cheapest that way. The first week we were in Arkansas, I told you guys in a previous video, I commented a little bit on it. I found some stuff, it wasn't great, but it was okay. A lot of sales, just I didn't really find a lot of good stuff, and that happens no matter where you're at sometimes. It's just hit or miss with this business. But I started going to some of the thrift stores that are open here, and I just was not having a lot of luck. Now, granted, I wasn't going first thing in the morning when they opened. It was usually an hour or two after, sometimes in the afternoon. But a lot of these places restock during the day too. But I just wasn't finding anything. I'm like, there is just nothing that was what I would consider resellable. I was even looking through books and clothes. I didn't go through every set, every clothing item, but just, it wasn't great. And then this morning I finally went into Rogers and went to the Ben's location. I looked and saw there wasn't any notes on Google about it being closed. It still said opens at 9, but it's not like they were going to put a notice up there that said, hey, we're closed because of a tornado on Google. They got other things to worry about, because when I went there and drove there, half the front of the building is completely gone. So of course the Ben's location is shut down. So that was my last great hope for some decent sourcing here, because the Ben's are pretty good. You can find some decent inventory if you know what you're looking for. 10 or 15 items a day in an hour or two easy. So I'm like, crap. So what do I do now? Luckily, I've got 3 weeks roughly of inventory left over. I had a lot of back inventory in San Antonio, which I told you I was trying to get pared down because I didn't have the space for. I'm at the lowest I'd like to be at. I want to keep 4 to 5 weeks of inventory, and right now I'm at 3 weeks or so. So I'm not completely sweating, but this is one of those periods you're going to have slumps wherever you're at, and especially when you're on the road, it's going to be harder because you don't know your area. So if you've got the storage space, if you're in an RV, never stop sourcing. If you can find stuff and you have the space for it and it's good stuff, pick it up, because you never know what's going to happen, where you could have a month where you're just not finding stuff, or you're in an area there's a lot of fun stuff to do and you just want to hang out, which that's kind of the problem here. We've got a lot of people we want to see, a lot of family. I want to see some of the areas that I never went to when I was living here, because I was just in a different mindset, so that's kind of cut into some of it too. And I haven't worried so much because I had this extra inventory. But if you're running to the bone and you don't have anything to list, and you're trying to support your family, you're going to have to think about maybe doing things differently if you hit a rut like this. If I was in that position, I would start thinking about what other ways can I source. Like, that's when you start looking at retail arbitrage. Maybe you go to Walmart or Lowe's or Home Depot, find stuff on clearance. You can find stuff that you could list on eBay. Maybe the margins are not going to be as great, but even if you could make 50 to 100% margin, that's something. If you sell something for 50, you picked up for 15 and you make about $20, that's still money in the bank, as long as it's got a good sell-through rate. It's not going to sit for 6 months. Remember, it goes back to sell-through rate. If something got a good sell-through rate, I didn't have any inventory, and I could make 50% margin, I would take that 50% margin. I'm a margin hoe. I like to have big 300, 400% margins, but if I was in that position, I would take what I could get, as long as I was making money. You could do TJ Maxx, Ross, places like that, but I don't have a lot of experience with those, and I think the margins are even less on those type of places unless you find specific stuff. I know a lot of people who do retail arbitrage for a living and don't do a lot of garage selling. They like to go to places like that too, but me, not so much, especially selling on eBay. If you have an Amazon store, you may want to think about putting stuff up on Amazon you found by retail arbitrage. Which the problem with that is, if you're needing money right now, one of the problems with Amazon is you're going to have to wait until it ships in there, and then you're going to have to wait for them to upload it and get it activated. You're going to have to wait for it to sell. You're going to have to wait a couple more weeks before they give you the money, and hope you don't get a return. You could be a month or two before you see any of that money. Whereas with eBay, you could buy something today, list it today, and sell it today, and get the money the next day, possibly. I have mine set up for every 7 days. That's the way I wanted it. So you got to think about different ways of doing things. You may look at antique stores, or private thrift stores, see if you can find stuff there. Look at bookshops and stuff. You can get the little barcode scanner apps or scanner things, and get the apps on your phone to where you can actually scan the books, and it'll tell you if they're worth money or not to sell on eBay or Amazon. And you could just go scan books. You could actually source on eBay to sell on eBay or Amazon. Sometimes people mistakenly price stuff, or maybe they're inexperienced and they don't know what they're doing. You can find that stuff, snipe it, and then repost it for more once you receive it. You can buy lots of stuff and just break those out. It's not going to be as high a profit as you would just buying something at a garage sale, but it's still going to be income coming in. And that's the main thing, because if you're doing this to support your family and you're in a tight spot, you can't keep doing this the way, the things the way you have been doing, because that may not be working in that type of situation, and you can't just have excuses for yourself. As a true business owner is going to look at those problems, and they're going to try to find ways to solve those problems. They're not just going to make excuses for those problems and not deal with them. Okay, you can't do that. You just can't. Okay. You've got to get yourself out of that slump. There's been this past week, I've hit mentally a little bit of a slump, and it sucked. But at the end of the day, I'm responsible for my family, and if I want to do this full time and we want to continue to do this, I've got to figure it out. I got to put on the big boy pants and get out there and do what I need to do. I can say this in hindsight with the fact that, we've got a good financial cushion. I've still got inventory. So I haven't been up against the wall yet. So that's probably something maybe we'll see down the road. If I get up against the wall, how am I going to handle it? Am I just going to spout this stuff out, or am I actually going to, am I going to live what I teach or live what I preach? So we'll see. And I'm not that type of person where I'm just going to color code stuff, guys. If if I'm having problems, I'm going to relay it on here because I don't want to blow smoke up your butt. I don't want you to think, oh, this is all dandy and things are always great and I'm just finding so much great stuff. And you know, it's the past couple weeks have been rough. I just have the ability to take that hit right now because I've got inventory and I got financial cushion. So we're still enjoying what we're doing, and we're going to be leaving for Colorado here in another week or two, and then that's where the real fun starts because it's areas that we haven't been before, and I'm so excited to get to see some of these places. So right now we're just kind of, you know, hanging out with friends and family. It's been awesome. It's been great, and even if the sourcing is not great, I'm still having fun, and that's what this is about, and I'm getting to enjoy it with my family. And hopefully that's something you want to do, and you want to keep watching the channel. But I'm going to go ahead and let you guys go for now, and we'll see you again next week. Okay, have a good one.